Hello. I tend not to bother ordinary Christians because they are the victims of people like priests and theologians. You know what our life is. We have to work to make our living in order to be able to pay for the things that we need. And a little analogy sprang to my mind. For example, take a baker. He has a trade. He is making a product to sell to the public, bread. Theologians and priests, in the same way, have a profession, and it can be described that they have a trade and they make a product which they sell to the public. Their product, in opposition to the baker's product, is invisible, immaterial. How do they manage to sell it? Just as the baker uses ingredients to make his bread, and if from a government institution people come to check his ingredients and find that there is wood shavings in the flour, for example, he will be punished and lose his living and maybe go to jail. The situation is not like this with theologians, though, because the ingredients that they use for their immaterial, invisible, non-existent product are also non-existent, but they are able to make them seem existent, seem that they are things, ingredients, and in front of the public they make their final product, and that's how they are able to sell it. I will explain what I mean. If theologians only say to the public, there is a God, you have to believe that there is a God, and all the other things in the religion, they are not very credible, because people will say, well, where is this product? Can I touch it? Can I see it? Can I eat it? No, they cannot show their product. So, as I said, they show to the public the ingredients that they use in order to make their final product, the story that they sell. They use language bewitchment, they use a philosophical fallacy. And I talked about that fallacy in earlier videos, the fallacy of reification. I will explain, and it will become clear why theologians hate the theory of evolution, because from the many books written on the evolution of the human species, we learn that human species, an intensely social species, humans are distinguished mainly from other animals by their making of tools through which they can produce things that they need, and so on. For the making of the tools together, for hunting or other activities of humans, humans need communication, and that is how language appeared. People with our very complex brain, we are able to generalize and make abstractions, and we make a concept, and everybody knows that concept and that word. That's how language appeared, for communication, and that is how we communicate. It is very important for humans to quickly and clearly communicate with each other, and that is why all the concepts made, everybody knows what they are in our language, and that is how we can communicate. For example, we can use only one word to describe, if you don't have that word, you have to talk for a long time to explain what you mean. Take time, for example. If you don't have the word time, you have to talk about physics, the fundamental physical forces. They are reversible, but the second law of thermodynamics, the laws of probability, show that there is a change, and entropy increases, and that is why we people feel the arrow of time. We have a past and a future because things, and we ourselves, change. But about all these things, instead of all these things, we use only one word, time. And everybody knows what that means, although there is no thing that we can touch, see, stretch, or do any other things with it. It is not a thing, but everybody knows what you mean when you say time. So I will explain what non-existent ingredients theologians use for their making of their non-existent final product, which they manage to sell to people. All those concepts and words that we have for our communication, which are not things, they are not entities existing that you can point to, they make them as things. So in this way they try to make their final product more substantial and seemingly existent, even if people cannot see, touch it, hear it, and so forth.
Why does the universe exist instead of just nothing?
Let me give some examples of such ingredients. William Lane Craig says nothing, as if it existed, because he says instead of the universe existing, that means everything existing, nothing existed before the universe came into existence.
I think we have good grounds for saying the universe has this absolute origin in which space, time, matter, and energy come to exist out of nothing, and that points beyond itself to its origin in a creator.
That means that nothing existed, absolute nothing. But that is not true, because nothing is just a theoretical term we use for our communication. Alvin Plantinga has fished around and managed to find an ingredient for one of his arguments: possible worlds.
A being is a necessary being if it exists in every possible world.
What are these possible worlds? Do they exist? If they exist, they are actual worlds, but you have to prove that they exist. If they do not exist, then you haven't proved anything. Another theologian, Eleonore Stump, has discovered another ingredient, and that is, would you believe it, the word now. I will show you how she uses it. She takes now, which is again a theoretical term that we use in our communication. There is no now, because the moment you say now, is already gone. There is not one single moment that you can pinpoint that is now. In the non-existent entity time. Time is, as I explained, just a concept. It makes easy for us to communicate when we use the word time. So what she does is she takes now, she wants to explain the eternity of God. She takes now, she stretches it and manipulates it like the baker manipulates his dough to make bread. She manipulates this ingredient, which is non-existent, but she presents it as existent in order to make her final product. When you realize how theologians cheat people, or maybe they are cheated themselves, but the fact is that they do sell a final product, and that is how they make their living. And that is why they insist on people believing that there is a God and so on, because that keeps them in their present trade. I suggest that we build a reification radar in our mind and always try to detect if a word somebody is using as existing, if it is really an existing entity. Because if it isn't, they are cheating you. Bye!